Hi, I'm firearms attorney Gilbert Ambler, and today we're going to talk about some of the tricks of the trade of what lawyers do, specifically with respect to concealed handgun permit denials. Lots of times when people get denied a concealed handgun permit, they wonder, do I need to hire a lawyer to help me argue that I am deserving of this concealed handgun permit? I think it's helpful. Not required, but I think it's helpful. We're going to talk about one of the tricks I like to use here in Virginia. And before we dive into this subject, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. That way you and your friends can keep getting this important Second Amendment related content. All right, here in Virginia, our licensing statute, our concealed handgun permit statute, is found at 18.2-308.09 of the Virginia Code. And most of the reasons you can be denied a concealed handgun are fairly concrete reasons. You know if they apply to you, right? So you know if you've been convicted of a felony. You know if you've been released from the custody of mental health, had an involuntary mental health commitment. You know if these things apply to you. But then there's one or two in there that are not quite so concrete. And the one we're going to talk about is subsection 13, 18.2-308.09, subsection 13. And this subsection says that they can deny you a concealed handgun permit if the court finds by a preponderance of the evidence, and that's an important legal standard that we're going to talk about, by a preponderance of the evidence that you are likely to use a weapon unlawfully or negligently to endanger others. Okay? What is this? This is kind of a catch-all where if the sheriff or the Commonwealth attorney has a problem with you, they will often use this to deny you a concealed handgun permit. They'll submit a sworn statement and say, we believe this individual based on these specific facts is likely to use a weapon unlawfully or negligently to endanger others. Now, at the outset, I'll tell you, I think this provision is ripe for a Bruin challenge because it's kind of similar to what New York was doing, where the Supreme Court said that kind of looks a little bit like May issue, where there's unfettered discretion was what the court was talking about in New York. Unfettered discretion on who was deserving of a concealed handgun permit, who was not. This might not be unfettered, but it's a lot of discretion, and it's a low legal threshold. Preponderance of the evidence, that's essentially, for lack of a better term, that's like 51%. Okay, they don't have to prove it by clear and convincing. They don't have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Preponderance of the evidence that you're likely to use a weapon unlawfully or negligently to endanger others. So what types of situations do they apply this in? One of the situations where I've seen them being the government, regularly apply this denial is a situation where somebody has had multiple alcohol-related incidents that don't otherwise prohibit them from possessing firearms. For example, somebody is drunk inside their own home and repetitively calling the police on their neighbors because their neighbors play loud music and the police keep showing up, and then when the police show up, you're drunk inside your home. Not a crime to be drunk inside your home. Not a crime if it's a legitimate 911 call to make a 911 call, but probably annoying to the police officers to be repetitively called out for these types of disturbances. And often, these are situations where police might consider if they can find something to charge you with. But if they can't find anything to charge you with, they might just have a problem with you. And then you go to apply for a concealed handgun permit. And when you apply, the chief of police or the sheriff is going to provide a written statement saying this individual is regularly drunk and complaining about their neighbors, and so we believe they're likely to use a weapon unlawfully or negligently to endanger others because they don't seem to have a good handle. They don't seem to be able to control their alcohol usage. And here's where Virginia laws really work to your advantage. When the complaint is based around your use of alcohol, some interaction that police saw with you where they believe you were misusing alcohol, here's the trick that I like to use. Because Virginia law says if you have a concealed handgun permit, it is unlawful to drink inside a licensed establishment, an establishment that is licensed to serve alcohol. Okay? However, if you're open carrying without a concealed handgun permit, perfectly lawful to walk into a bar and drink in Virginia. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that my clients understand this law. They need to understand that they have the right to open carry a firearm, assuming they're not otherwise prohibited from possessing firearms. They've got the right to open carry, and they've got the right to open carry in a bar and drink in the bar. But if they get a concealed handgun permit and they're carrying a concealed handgun, it would then become unlawful for them to drink in the bar. I then put my client on the stand. I have them testify. I have them testify about their rights and responsibilities if they're issued a concealed handgun permit, and I have them acknowledge that right now, without a concealed handgun permit, they can go into a bar and drink as long as they're open carrying. And almost invariably, the judge will chuckle and then issue a concealed handgun permit. Because logically, we're destroying the logic here on why they're being denied the concealed handgun permit. Why am I telling you about it? Well, if you're facing one of these scenarios, it's a handy little trick you can use. And the point is, lawyers know, or competent lawyers know, some of these tricks of how they can use a situation to your advantage. And so is it worth getting a lawyer involved if you've been denied a concealed handgun permit? I think it is. If you enjoyed this content, hit that subscribe button. Until next time.